Hello and welcome to CTV News Across Canada for Tuesday, August 19th. We've got the top local stories from coast to coast, stories that affect you and the country. Thanks for joining us.
These sights and sirens are becoming all too common in Nova Scotia's Annapolis County, but people are grateful to see crews taking on the tall task ahead of them.
Couldn't be doing a better job, and I tell you, there's a lot of brave, hard-working people putting a lot of effort into it.
As Rob Howie works on vehicles, he and his family are safe, so his mind is on his home.
The fire's pretty close to it, but I got no official word on anything yet. We're hoping to hear some updates today sometime.
Officials say no homes have been lost, but the same can't be said for some campers and trailers.
They were putting sprinklers up on our house, and then right after that they were in spraying the big fire hose over everything to get it wet.
Cindy and Dion Schofield know the fire was close to their home too.
We were fortunate we had cameras on the house for a bit, so we got to see really what was going on.
Up until a day ago when they cut the power off for the safety.
We're doing whatever we can to protect structures that are in the path of fire and protect people and property. Our teams spent a good part of the weekend setting up preventative measures where they could.
The Premier also thankful for efforts of first responders, some from as far away as the Northwest Territories. And while the wildfire poses possible devastation for anyone involved, it feels like there's more at stake for the Schofields.
We live on disability, so it's limited income, not able to get house insurance because we heat with wood because that's the most efficient and economical way to do it. So, you know, if it's gone, it's gone. We're not getting any of it back.
The county's deputy warden hearing from some of the evacuees himself.
You can tell that they're stressed. There was some tears, there was things, but there was also positivity around the fact that there's people that are helping them.
He wants people to know the local community college is open for evacuees with food, shelter, and Wi-Fi at no cost. Conditions have been changing. Today is a bit cooler, but the wind is certainly still a factor. The rainfall last night certainly helped a bit, but not enough for a long, sustained period of time, which is certainly what's needed here. As for the evacuees, as you can tell from the Schofields, they're just hoping to get back home safely soon.
Marching in defiance. Air Canada's striking flight attendants picket at Pearson, ignoring the federal government's back-to-work order.
The only leverage a union has is the ability to withdraw our labor.
The Canadian Industrial Relations Board calling the strike unlawful. Workers call it something else.
It's a cry for help. What they're yelling right now is our emergency commands that we learn in training to say that we are about to crash land. We need help.
CUPE executive members visiting the picket outside Terminal 1 to reassure members
that we have each and every one of your backs through every step of this. CUPE will be there through the whole way.
At a press conference this afternoon, CUPE National President Mark Hancock saying he's willing to take this as far as necessary.
And if it means folks like me going to jail, then so be it. If it means our union being fined, then so be it.
They've stood behind us. They've rallied behind us. They gave us a strong mandate. So I'll take whatever consequences come my way to fully represent them.
With the airline grounded, planes sit idle. So far, the federal government seems unwilling to enforce the back-to-work order.
I urge both parties to resolve this as quickly as possible.
Air Canada had hoped for flights to resume this afternoon, instead releasing a statement saying Air Canada has suspended its plan to gradually resume operations after CUPE illegally directed its flight attendant members not to return to work. The union saying there is only one way they will return.
When we get a collective agreement that works for all of you.
Negotiations have not taken place since Friday night, with the union saying Air Canada has not responded to communication. The main issues remaining wages and ground pay, meaning work done when the plane is not flying. The airline CEO defending their last offer.
We believe what we offer from a ground pay perspective will be market leading. And so we've addressed that situation.
But the union disagrees with one message for Air Canada.
Get back to the table. It's as simple as that.
As they wait for an answer. And just a few moments ago, Air Canada released a statement saying they have canceled their flights at least until tomorrow afternoon. But with no pending talks, it's hard to say when there will be any more flights for Air Canada. Reporting live, I'm Sean Lee.
Air Canada passengers are still wondering if their flights will take off.
I mean, there's been a lot of confusion, not exactly clear messages on whether things are cancelled or not.
All day long, passengers are passing by, trying to get some FaceTime with Air Canada staff, but answers are hard to come by.
Everything else seems to just be getting cancelled en masse. They don't seem to be making any efforts to resume operations right now, so...
These women are trying to get back home to Hong Kong after their flight was cancelled.
They told us that was delayed, and then we come here, and after we come here, stay for like 1 or 2 hours, and they told us it was cancelled.
They've since rebooked with another airline, paying for the $2,000 flight out of their own pockets. Passengers say they are stressed, confused, and frustrated.
I mean, being delayed is frustrating, but the most stressful part of this experience is not really knowing what's happening from one day to the next.
Ian Popple's situation is even more complicated. He's trying to get back home to Montreal from London. He was supposed to fly Monday, but that flight was cancelled. So Air Canada booked him on a new flight, which has a 2-day layover in Iceland.
But the flight out 2 days later from Iceland is Air Canada. So there's a scenario where this strike doesn't end, where we get to Iceland and then we don't get the option of getting the next flight to Montreal.
He says getting a hold of Air Canada is nearly impossible, and he has no idea when the strike will be resolved. Meanwhile, flight attendants protest at many airports, asking for better pay, while passengers are left wondering how they'll get home and when. Sweet Arasi, CTV News.
While Orillia's 2 beaches were open for swimming on Monday, that has often not been the case this summer.
I don't really even want to put my feet in the water with the amount of warnings that are around here.
It is what it is. We're enjoying the park. We love Couchiching Park.
The city and local health unit issuing swim advisories each time bacteria levels exceed 200 E. coli per 100 milliliters in Lake Couchiching.
We should be able to enjoy our parks and our waters.
But the city has responded by taking a deep dive to try and understand what's contaminating the waters of Couchiching and Moose Beach, looking at not just the quantity of contamination, but where it's coming from.
There's 4 sources we're looking at. One is seagulls, the next is geese, the next is dog, and the last is human waste.
Staff have been taking DNA samples on 3 dry weather days and 3 wet weather days and getting it analyzed by water scientist Dr. Tom Edge. He says that, according to his initial findings, the contamination has been mostly coming from the sky.
What we have found is DNA sequences of bacteria from the seagull gut and DNA from Canada geese as well. There's no question that there's bird fecal contamination at the beach that's contributing to the E. coli.
While the city has an $18,500 budget for the study, the Rescue Lake Simcoe Coalition fears that future costs could be even greater to keep local lakes clean, including Couchiching.
There are so many cottagers that camp around both the lakes, right? So if these pollutants are not being taken care of, their drinking water quality will be impacted.
One possible solution, scare tactics.
In studies that I've seen where they've done that and measured E. coli before they had the dogs running around, and then after a few weeks after the dogs had run around, you can see improvements in water quality.
The city says it will take several weeks to get the results back from all 6 of their samples. Staff will then report their findings to council and make recommendations on what to do next. Mike Lang, CTV News, Orillia.
It's not something residents in this Cambridge neighborhood expected to wake up to. Police tape and cruisers lining Park Avenue after shots rang out around 3:20 Monday morning.
Police responded to the area. They located a residence on Park that had been struck by gunshots. There was no one home at the time and no physical injuries were reported.
While there were no injuries, police say they are still taking the incident very seriously.
It's cause for concern in our community when there's gun violence, whether there are injuries or not. We continue to appeal for anyone with information to contact police or to remain anonymous Crime Stoppers.
Police say at this time it isn't clear who did it or why.
When we see incidents like these, they typically are of a targeted nature.
Gun violence continues to be a concern in Waterloo Region.
So this will be the 12th shooting incident in Waterloo Region this year. There have been no fatal shootings to date.
At this time in 2024, there were 17 shooting incidents in the region. 2 of those were fatal.
We will have those details in just a bit. Patricia.
Thank you, Jackie. Well, as tinder dry conditions persist out there, a renewed warning tonight about where you flick your cigarette butts. Ottawa fire officials say improperly discarded smoking materials are the cause of a Finley Creek blaze that displaced 8 people last week, and it's part of a bigger worrying trend. The fire happened in the 400 block of Cache Bay Crescent last Wednesday. CTV's Katie Griffin is here with more. Katie.
Patricia, so far this year there have been 50 fires in Ottawa where the cause was deemed to be improperly discarded smoking materials, and officials say they were preventable.
The damage? Devastating. And fire officials say it was preventable.
After our fire investigation, it was concluded that it was improperly discarded smoking materials.
8 people were displaced after this fire in Finley Creek last week.
The fire started on the exterior and spread, to the vinyl siding, and that vinyl siding's like liquid gasoline. Just goes up the house, into the windows, breaches the windows, and then it spreads into the house.
The blaze spread to both the attached unit and the one beside. 1 person had to be rescued. 2 firefighters suffered heat exhaustion.
Especially under these conditions where it's hot, everything's dry, make sure your cigarette is properly put out. And I don't mean a couple of taps and then you throw it to the ground. Put it in a can of water, put it in an ashtray properly.
So far in Ottawa this year, there have been 50 fires caused by improperly discarded smoking materials, including cigarette butts.
Every year, it's one of the top 2 preventable causes of a fire in Ottawa, along with unattended cooking.
Fire crews in Quinte West have also doused several grass fires along Highway 401, caused by people tossing cigarettes from vehicles. It's happening in the Ottawa area too.
We have had several small grass fires started on the 416. I would highly recommend to people to not flick their cigarettes out the window. It's also considered littering, so if you are seen, it's a $110 ticket.
Even with cooler temperatures, we really haven't seen significant rain. A fire ban remains in effect. Patricia.
All right, CTV's Katie Griffin live for us tonight. Thank you. Ottawa police are asking for help identifying a suspect allegedly involved in a credit card theft. Police say the victim believes his credit card was stolen from his locker at the Richcraft Recreation Complex on Innovation Drive around 4 p.m. on July 25th. Police have released this photo that reportedly shows the suspect using the credit card at a business on Caldwell Avenue near Medford Street the next day. Ontario's police watchdog is investigating after an anti-riot weapon was used against a man in Gananoque last week. Officers were called to the area of 2nd Street and Victoria Avenue Friday afternoon after reports of a disturbance. The Special Investigations Unit says
they were really close. He loved his little sister.
July 30th, 2025 was a day Stacey Grant will never forget.
That phone call, I replay it in my head every day. I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense. It should never have happened.
15-year-old Caden Grant and his 12-year-old sister Jocelyn drowned in the Wabigoon River in Dryden, Ontario. Stepmother Heather Dodd says Jocelyn fell in first.
When she submerged, her brother, who also did not have very strong swimming skills, went in after her to try to rescue her. And unfortunately, he succumbed to the water as well.
Approximately 460 people fatally drown in Canada each year, this according to the Life Saving Society of Canada, and over 50 of those are children under the age of 14. To combat this, the family is launching a foundation called Water Wings. It's aimed at raising awareness about the importance of water safety for school-aged children. Grandfather Michael Williams is now petitioning Ontario Premier Doug Ford to bring swimming lessons back into the elementary school curriculum.
The problem is that it's being offered only as an opt-in basis, whereas I think it should be the other way around. It should be opt-out. So it should be a negative option. So schools have to do it unless they have a valid reason why they can't do it.
Heather says she will do anything she can to bring forth awareness.
You don't want to be in our position. You don't want to ever feel what we feel.
Stacy, Heather, and Michael are hoping their family's story will help prevent future tragedies so others won't have to go through the same grief they are currently experiencing. Alex Carpa, CTV News, Winnipeg.
It's some dark days at the Grey Bruce Public Health Unit as the province is now in charge after they say serious issues were uncovered in a months-long investigation. Following multiple complaints regarding the board's operations, finances, and governance, the Chief Medical Officer of Health launched an independent review of the Grey Bruce Public Health Unit. The review identified serious concerns with the board's ability to fulfill its responsibilities, including issues related to governance, leadership, financial management, and human resources. The Grey Bruce Public Health Unit Board, as well as Grey Bruce Medical Officer of Health Dr. Ian Era, now answer to Ontario's Chief Medical Officer of Health, Dr. Kieran Moore, who pointed to unstable leadership, conflict amongst board members, and a lack of financial oversight as reasons for the takeover. The province nor Health Board Chair Nick Saunders would go into specific examples of those serious issues the province identified, but Saunders, for one, doesn't think the reported issues warranted a provincial takeover.
I do not believe that it is at this level that Mr. Moore has to take over the board. Mr. Moore has created this problem.
Saunders says he was first called into Dr. Moore's office in Toronto in June, where he says Dr. Moore and his colleagues proceeded to badmouth Dr. Ian Era, the current medical officer of health in Grey Bruce. Then in July, Dr. Moore presented the province's assessment to Saunders and the rest of the board. Amongst the immediate recommendations from the July 18th letter shared with CTV News by Saunders was to work with the counties of Bruce and Grey and Ministry to immediately replace the municipal members on the Board of Health. Saunders and the board were given 30 days to come up with a plan to start addressing the province's concerns. On August 6th, Saunders started doing just that, he thought, letting all 7 municipal representatives on the Grey Bruce Public Health Board go. Then on August 14th, Dr. Moore sent a letter to Saunders and the board saying he was taking charge, partly due to the chair's attempt to unilaterally remove municipal representatives on the Board of Health without the authority to do so.
He dumped this on my lap and say, "This is all you're doing. Sorry, but I'm not having a part of this." This was his doing.
Dr. Moore has since reinstated all 7 municipal councillors to the Grey Bruce Public Health Board. Although the recent actions regarding the board were unexpected, Bruce and Grey counties appreciate the recent actions taken by the ministry, and we are reassured we have a path forward. Board Chair Saunders isn't so sure.
Mr. Moore is putting a lot of undue stress on the communities and within the health unit.
This is an intervention specific to Grey Bruce Public Health. There are no planned changes to other boards of health in the province, says Dr. Moore. In Grey Bruce, Scott Miller, CTV News.
It doesn't take long to have an instant, like I said, emotional reaction to this and start wondering what if.
Ty Johnston is part of the Caswell Hill Community Association. It's an area that borders Idlewild and is meters from the site of the newly announced 60-bed homeless shelter behind Harry Bailey Pool and Sask Polytech.
They gave us 2 days heads up of which time. It depends on who's looking at their email all the time. And like I said, this is a volunteer position and it's summer right now.
While he's not happy with the timing and little consultation, he does see the shelter as necessary. The Caswell Hill group plans to send a letter with tangible requests to those in charge, like having a police liaison officer on site, having a good neighbor agreement, and a long-term plan to help homeless people.
We want to be there and be supportive of things that help our community members get stronger and get better, but we also want to see investment into longer-term solutions in affordable housing, addictions treatment, mental health.
The shelter is going to be run by the Mustard Seed, which is currently in charge of the Pacific Avenue Temporary Shelter and the Lighthouse.
It's really important that we're a part of the community and that we can be the best neighbors that we can be, understanding that shelters are complicated, but they're incredibly necessary.
That aligns with what Sask Polytech is hoping for, since it will be adjacent to the facility. It told CTV News in an email statement, "We look forward to close collaboration with government and stakeholders throughout design and construction to help ensure our campus and surrounding area continues to be a safe, inclusive, and respectful environment for all." One of those concerns raised by Johnston and his group is that there are 2 schools within blocks of the site. Caswell Community School, and St. Michael. Plus, Harry Bailey Pool is next to it. The mustard seed assures it's on top of safety concerns. Still, there are many questions from Johnston and those in Caswell Hill, like why wasn't a location near the police station chosen? The goal is to have the shelter operational by late winter. Carla Shinkaruk, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Camrose is more than 3,000 kilometers to Ottawa, but for Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre, the road back to Parliament runs through here in the Battle River Crowfoot riding. Voters have mixed feelings on Poilievre representing them.
He was born in Alberta, so anyways, I hope he does good for Alberta.
He's a good leader, and he's more concerned about his own rear end being in Parliament down in Ottawa.
Poilievre is expected to win tonight's Conservative riding, one chosen to get him back into the House of Commons after losing his seat in the Carleton riding in the spring general election. How much he wins by is another story. The former MP, Damien Currick, who stepped aside for Poilievre to run, won with 83% of the vote.
The margin of victory will still be quite large, I would expect, for Mr. Poilievre.
Poilievre is one of 214 candidates on the ballot. Most candidates are with the Longest Ballot Committee, a protest group calling for electoral reform. Many also ran in Poilievre's former Carleton riding.
Our system favors politicians and that they are in charge of their own election rules, and we believe it is a conflict of interest.
Elections Canada says more than 14,000 people voted in advance polls, and for the first time, voters will write out the name of their preferred candidate. Bonnie Critchley, not part of the Longest Ballot Committee, is running as an independent. She was satisfied with the MP voted in during the general election. She's running because she doesn't think Pierre Poilievre will stand up for the area.
We're living hand-to-mouth, paycheck to paycheck, and we're having to deal with this. So, no, we're unimpressed.
As some here know, the Conservative leader has bigger battles than Battle River Crowfoot.
It's such a strong Conservative base here, then they might be looking at a leadership review.
Now, Tara, polls tonight close at 8:30. Elections Canada will start counting ballots from the advanced polls here shortly to ensure results become available as soon as possible. CTV News will be following this by-election throughout the night.
According to the NDP, since Scott Moe took office in 2018, the provincial government has increased its spending by 47%. The opposition says taxpayers are now paying the price of the ballooning provincial debt, with interest payments of upwards of $1 billion per year.
Think about that, $1 billion. Imagine what we could do in this province with that money. Imagine the doctors, the nurses, the long-term care beds that could be invested in.
The Canadian Taxpayers Federation agrees with that sentiment, but feels the NDP is not being transparent with the solution, controlling spending and spending less to pay back the debt.
The problem that the government has had for a long time is that it's been spending more money than it's getting coming in from tax revenue and wherever else, and that means they have to borrow the difference, right? And just like a family with a credit card, if you're not paying back your debt every year, it's only going to increase.
In a statement, the government of Saskatchewan offered a rebuttal to the NDP's claims of overspending and fiscal irresponsibility, saying the provincial government is continuously making investments on what is important to the people of Saskatchewan, adding that Saskatchewan has the second lowest net debt to GDP ratio and the highest combined credit rating in Canada. But the CTF says that number is misleading, since provinces across the country are piling on debt to their taxpayers right now.
Well, it doesn't give the Saskatchewan government license to do it just because it's not doing it quite as bad, because the stats don't lie, right? The government debt in Saskatchewan's going up by more than $3,000 a minute, almost $5 million a day, and that's unsustainable.
Haubrich says as long as the government continues to rack up interest payments, it will continue to be felt by the Saskatchewan taxpayer. Jacob Carr, CTV News, Regina.